Welcome, ladies, degenerates, and gentlemen, back to the DeGents podcast. I got my boy Big Rich here.
Foski, what's up, brother? I just wanna first say congratulations on the win in Dynasty this week. That's a big one for you. A long time coming. It might not be the 50-year plan as your name suggests, maybe the 15-year plan, but it's a step in the right direction. Big win.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I would say this win this week cuts me in half. We'll call it a 25-year plan.
Hey, better than 50.
That's true. We're working our way back.
Yes, sir.
It's tough sledding over here. But, anyways, we are on to college football week 4 and NFL week 3. I was thinking today, it's crazy that we're already week 3 in the NFL. Feels like it just started yesterday.
Yeah, no, it moves too fast. It always does.
But hey, we're in the thick of it. Still September, mid-September. We got plenty of time to go.
Mm-hmm. That we do.
So we're going to start with a recap of college football. We went through the top 25 last week in the matchups. We didn't really do an in-depth breakdown, but let's run through the results of the teams in the top 25. And we'll start with Bama. Bama rolls at Wisconsin. Never really was a question. I believe the spread closed at 15 and a half, 16 and a half, something like that.
Close 15 and a half.
15 and a half. Yeah. Bama wins 42-10. So no question there. Oklahoma State wins 45-10 at Tulsa. No surprise there. LSU and South Carolina was an absolute banger.
Great game.
We both had picks. There. I took LSU minus the points. They did win the game, but they only won it by 3. So that means you won on the South Carolina spread. Good hit.
Won a few on Saturday, but I'll take it.
There you go. Yeah, it's been tough sledding. The record is brutal, and I'll read that off to you as we go on here. But regrettably, I'll read that off to you. But yeah, that was a good ass game. I was actually on the golf course. I had the little setup on the golf cart watching back and forth college game day. The Gamecocks showed up, so it was worth it for them to go there for sure.
Yeah, no, they showed up and definitely flattened out there in the second half. Lenore Sellers didn't play that second half, and you could kind of tell that it took them a little bit to kind of kick it back into gear, and they kind of got it towards the fourth quarter there, but too little, too late. LSU came back pretty heavy and ended up winning that game. But yeah, that was probably my favorite game I watched that day.
Yeah, the noon slate this year has been really good.
Oh yeah, big time.
Michigan 10-point win at home against Arkansas State. They are struggling. Orgy is now the official starting quarterback, but they do not look like the team they were last year, to be expected. I think we talked about that a little bit. But 10-point win at home against Arkansas State is not exactly ideal for a team that should be competing for the Big Ten championship.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Michigan struggling. They only beat Arkansas State by 10 points. This is a team that you don't feel good about it unless you win by 50. Warren threw 3 picks, no touchdowns. He only had 3 incompletions and it was 3 picks. Struggling. Seemed like they got the running game going though. Edwards had 17 touches, 82 yards. Not the best yards per carry day for him, but he got in the end zone. And Mullings had a great day, 15 carries for 153 yards. Great game for them on the run. But they got to figure something out. They may, honestly, I feel like they could finish 4th or 5th in the Big Ten at this rate.
Yeah, they need an offense. We all know how good the defense is, but they gotta put up some points. They can't score 28 against the Arkansas State team.
No.
BC, Missouri, 27-21 Missouri. BC covers. I think BC proved. I didn't watch this game, but I think BC proved that they're in it for. They're competing. I mean, they're not going to compete for a national championship, but they played a tough game on the road at Missouri, and they covered the spread by a long shot, and it was close. So
Yeah,
let's go Eagles.
Boston College got out to a 14-3 lead there. So they came out early. I like that offense a lot. The option, their quarterback Castellanos, he runs the ball well. Definitely surprised me. I was on Missouri minus. I think I had a minus 16. Closed 14.5. It doesn't matter. BC covered both those numbers. But yeah, Boston College, they look good. It's especially against an explosive offense like Missouri, keeping them at 27 points. That's really, really good. So yeah, definitely Boston College team to look for. It's weird seeing Boston College and the number 24 next to them.
Yeah, Billy O.
Yeah, it's
He's doing a great job.
Seeing BC ranked. But I love it though.
Hey, compete with the SEC team on the road. That's pretty much all you can ask for from BC.
Yep, absolutely.
Oregon finds their stride against Oregon State, 49-14 dominant win. We were looking for them. They struggled early in the first few weeks, and they finally looked like the top 10 team that they are projected to be. So, Oklahoma at home beats Tulane 34-19. Solid win. I think Tulane is a lot better than people are giving them credit for, so that's a good win for them. And I believe they got Tennessee next week, right?
Yeah, they got Tennessee Saturday at home.
Yes, they do.
7-point underdog.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah, I'm high on Tennessee, so that'll definitely be one I have action on, but I haven't decided yet. ND 66-7. They came out and proved a point. So much for the spoiler makers. I think they're pretty pissed off after what happened the week prior, and the spread was what, 11?
Closed 7.5.
Oh wow, yeah. So they came out, proved their point at Purdue. Still kind of indifferent on this ND team. I mean, Purdue's a team they should beat. Maybe not 66-7, but they definitely had some extra motivation after what happened at home against NIU.
Big time. But I mean, we can also wait and see kind of how NIU season goes. I mean, nonetheless, it's a bad loss. 100% a bad loss at home, but NIU comes into this week a ranked team. So at the end of the year, if NIU ends up being one of those sleeper group of 5 teams that goes 11-1, it might not be the worst loss on the planet, but time will definitely tell.
Oh yeah. Utah beats Utah State on the road, 38-21, without Cam Rising. He's still out, but a good win there. Miami 62-0 at home against Ball State. Cam Ward has worked his way into the favorite for the Heisman, and Miami looks good.
Yeah, they look very good. They have a different vibe to them this year versus years past. You know, they got that swagger behind them too. So
yeah, Cam Ward is an absolute stud.
Yeah, he is. I right from the jump, I knew Cam Ward in Miami was just going to be a match made in heaven type of. Like it's like the player that they've been missing the most over the years. A Cam Ward at quarterback. So.
Yeah, Ole Miss 40-6 win over Wake on the road. They have started out really hot, and they look to be a contender, but same old story with Lane Kiffin. They have to play their SEC schedule before we can really take them serious. But so far, they have rolled through all these lesser teams.
Yeah, and honestly, their SEC schedule isn't really that bad. They go on the road to LSU. That's going to be a tough game. They host Oklahoma, and they host Georgia. Georgia's going to be a tough game nonetheless, wherever you play them, but they host them. That's massive. So, yeah, those are the 3 toughest games they got in the SEC.
Yeah, they look good. They look really good so far.
Yep.
Texas rolls at home versus UTSA 56-7. Quinn Ewers gets banged up. Arch comes in. It looks like it didn't make a goddamn difference.
No, some may argue that it actually helped, but it's a story for another day.
Currently, Arch Manning is $2 less on the odds to win the Heisman, so more of a favorite than Quinn Ewers is, which is crazy. But he's probably getting a lot of the handle too, which is going to boost him up. But that's wild to me.
Yeah, I know. I saw that on either Twitter or Instagram that he was the highest bet player from, I think it was Saturday into Sunday or whatever, to win the Heisman. Yeah, it's wild. I just don't see. I mean, depending on what the Ewers injury is, how long he's out for, I just don't see a world where Arch Manning, even when Ewers is healthy, is the starting quarterback.
No, I don't
Ewers
think
is
so either.
healthy. He's playing. Like Ewers is a debatable top 10 pick in the draft this season. So
yeah, and Arch looked good, but that's all raw talent. When they go up against Georgia or better SEC teams, his inexperience will show a little bit.
Yeah,
I still have faith in him that he's going to be, if he stays at Texas and plays out a full 4 years, he's going to be unfucking believable. But he still has spots where they can, good defenses can take advantage of his experience for sure.
Definitely.
That was just straight raw ability against a UTSA team that stood no chance anyways.
Yeah. A down USA team as well.
Yeah. Georgia, Kentucky. Georgia wins by 1, 13-12. And that vaulted Texas up to number 1 in the AP.
Yes, sir.
I did not get an eye on this game, but what the hell?
Yeah, one of my few wins as well on Kentucky. I had them plus 22, I believe.
Never even a sweat then.
Never a sweat. I mean, it was defensive battle, field goal after field goal after field goal. I think, I don't know. Do you see that? Did you see the play though, where Georgia, they caught that ball, then we're going down, and then got hit, and then the ball flung up, and there was the interception, and they took it to the house. Kentucky did. They got called back.
I did not.
Called an incomplete pass. That right there was very, very questionable, and it's quite unfortunate because that would have been an unbelievable upset. That would have been cool to watch. Georgia ends up winning the game, but that was also earlier in the game, so it's not like it would have completely changed the game, but maybe Georgia would change something up. But that was a big call back there. But yeah, that would have been cool if Kentucky ended up winning that game.
Yeah, I actually ended up getting taken out for a free 18 holes on Saturday, so I didn't catch much of the mid to late games.
Yeah.
And I did not get eyes on this one. I didn't think it would be this good of a game, to be honest. Nebraska 34-3 at home versus Northern Iowa. Easy one there. And then Tennessee 71-0 against Kent State. Absolutely rolling.
Yeah, absolutely rolling.
And then Friday night, too, we had Kansas State, Arizona, which is the only ranked matchup beside BC and Missouri, actually, of the week. And Kansas State wins 31-7.
Kansas State rolled.
Yep. That one I did watch. I was at work for that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Arizona went up early 7-0, then Kansas State 31 unanswered. I don't know. I think that was a big proving point game for Kansas State. Yeah. So good for them. That's they covered 7 easily at home. It took care of business, but to win by 24 points over another ranked team, that's a good win. Heading into Big 12 play too, that's massive.
Yeah, and then I got one more honorable mention. Colorado beats Colorado State 28-9 after all the shit talk that we heard all week long from Colorado State. Colorado shows up and shows out for a big win there after a slow start.
Feel bad for those boys from Colorado State, man. See,
they were talking a lot of shit.
They were talking a lot of shit. They lost last year, but they took them 28-point dogs. They took them to overtime. So
yeah, a lot better game.
Yep.
And that's about it. I mean, I'm sure there's a few more other games that were good. Yep. But again, I was on the golf course, so I didn't see much. I paid attention to a few of them. But let's move on to NFL recap. Starting on Thursday, we had Bills-Dolphins, AFC East matchup. Bills were 2.5-point dogs. This was one of my few picks that hit. I took the Bills +3. Obviously, we all have heard about Tua to this point. And they actually announced today, the Dolphins did, that Tua is going to go on IR. Another concussion, another finger episode. It's I saw it live. It's tough to watch, man. But even before that, Tua didn't look good and the Dolphins didn't look good. The Bills had this game the whole way. Had Tua not gotten injured, I think the Bills would have won this game pretty handily anyways. But anyways, prayers to Tua. It sucks to see. And now he's going to be out 4 games minimum. Hopefully that's it. There's obviously been a lot of fodder about his retirement and all this shit. But it seems like he's going to come back, but with time, give him some rest and make sure that he's good. So 31-10 win for the Bills.
Quickly, what is your stance on all that? Do you think the dude should just call it freaking quits? Quickly, what do you think?
I think Tua is a football player and he's a competitor, and I think that he will come back and he wants to come back. But I also think, looking at it, it looks bad, but his other 2 or 3 concussions that we saw were all on prime time. Yeah. So I think it's a little bit dudes get concussions all the time. And don't get me wrong, Tua's have been bad, but I'm pretty sure the last 2, the first thing where the GIF with his fingers and everything, that was a primetime game. It might even have been a Thursday night game like it was this year. I think it's a bit amplified. And yes, head trauma is a serious thing, but I think his 3 or 4 concussions in the NFL have all been on primetime, and they're all right in our face on national television. Yeah. And I think that plays a role into everyone kind of not overreacting, but being very aggressive in the fact that they're looking out for his safety. I don't know. I expected him to come back. Like I said, he's a competitor, a football player. Yeah. But I think the injuries that we've seen have been on a grand scale on primetime, and that's why it looks so bad. But I expected him to come back, and I wasn't. It's scary to see, but
no, very very scary to see. I hate seeing that stuff, man. I only had one bad concussion when I played football, and it wasn't even nearly as bad as that, But it's just scary. Those head injuries, you never know down the line what that can cause,
And you could tell right away on Thursday night, too. He lowered his head, and he was like this.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. I mean, if he wants to come back, which I think he will come back, and I think he will play again, it's one of those things where you gotta protect yourself. I know you're putting your body on the line for your team, and it's admirable and everything, but after the first three and you're going in head first to try to get the first down, like, it's one of those things that he's just going to have to learn to not do.
Yeah.
But I think he'll come back. I kind of hate how everyone's saying he should retire, he should retire. The dude's a competitor. He's put his whole life into this game at this point. Yeah, he's got his money, but dude wants to play football.
Yeah. No, I agree. And it's no one else's decision but his to retire. And
Correct.
I didn't expect that when I first saw it. Like I'm like, oh damn, again, like maybe
Yeah.
like a long-term injury, but I never retirement really never crossed my mind. It's like we saw Tua in college. We saw him earlier in his career. Like he's a baller. He's a competitor. He wants to play football. He wants to be on that field. He knows what he has in Miami, and he signed a contract there. And until I think until like if he goes while he's on the 4 weeks on IR and he goes and consults a neurologist and it shows like a true sign of like, hey, like you need to stop playing or like this could like have serious consequences. I don't
Yeah.
see him stepping away from the game until that is the line.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I'm with you there. If they can show him like evidence, like, hey, like you get one more, man, you're probably gonna wake up tomorrow and not know where you are at his age.
Right.
Like he's still young, but yeah, I think he's gonna play football.
I agree. All right, let's move on to Sunday, which was an absolute bloodbath. We'll start in New England. Patriots took the Seahawks to overtime. Seahawks win 23-20. I did buy the Seahawks down to 3 points, so I got a push there. Patriots are competing, though. Love to see
Yeah.
it. They had the one blown coverage early on DK. And other than that, it was a pretty competitive game. Jalen Polk, first receiving touchdown as a pro. I have to admit, the Patriots are a lot better than I thought they'd be, at least on offense.
Yeah, like going into the year, I knew that the Patriots defense and Gerard Mayo was gonna. Gerard Mayo, I don't think he's gonna be an X like a super X and O's guy. I think he's more so of that like that team builder, motivator type of coach. He was definitely gonna get those guys out there playing balls to the wall and you know playing with more of a purpose. But I knew this defense was going to be pretty stout. I knew they were going to be pretty good. I figured that they would be able to get themselves to be in the position to win a lot of games. It's just going to be on the offense to win those games, and that was a very winnable game the other day. Um, it leads into my question: is when do you make the decision to put Drake May into the fold here?
Me personally, I'm not even close.
Okay,
Not
I
even close.
I agree with you. I'm with you there.
Brissett got murdered on Sunday, and I do not want. I don't care if the game was 40-0.
Yeah.
No, thank you. I don't want my
Yeah.
rookie quarterback in there taking the hits that Jacoby was taking.
Yeah. No, I agree
No.
with you. I wanted to hear your opinion on it. But here's the scenario that I was thinking about the other day. Pats week 13 going into week 14, they're 6-7 or whatever. Say they ended up going they're a game below 500, right? I think that's kind of far fetched. And it's their defense that's winning them games, and their biggest crush is just moving the ball downfield, getting big chunk plays. Is that a scenario when you think your game below 500? Maybe this offense needs a spark. Maybe we throw him in, or you saying this is Jacoby's year, let it ride. Year two is when he takes over.
Yeah, I'm definitely leaning toward the second option. I don't think it's a move the ball downfield situation or problem, I should say. I think it's a protection problem.
Yeah,
And if you throw a guy who hasn't played real like regular season reps behind that offensive line, it's going to be even worse than what Jacoby has done because Jacoby's been in the league for however many years, and he understands how to run offense. And you just can't put a guy who needs reps behind a line like that, because he's not going to get reps. He's going to get rushed and he's going to get killed. He's not going to have time to go through his reads. He's not going to have time to recognize the right play. He's going to get killed. And I have been on that stance from the beginning of the season, and I thought we were going to be a 2, 3, 4 win team max. We've looked a lot better than I expected, obviously with the win against the Bengals, but I think you sit them the full year. If we're at the end of the year against a lower type of team where we're already kind of out of it, like I'm thinking like week 13, 14, maybe you bring them in to get them some reps before you start building the line around them. That's my stance on it.
Okay. Yeah. I was kind of thinking like, like we're letting up 21 points and we're scoring 18 points a game type of thing. We're in every game, a game or two below 500. Like what could be the difference maker? Because I mean, I'm here to win every single game. I'm not rooting for a tank. I don't care if we have the first pick. I don't care if we have the 16th pick.
No.
Yeah,
I'm not
I want them
rooting
to
for
win
a
every
tank.
single game.
Right. I'm not rooting for a tank either, but Jacoby Brissett through 2 weeks has been the most pressured quarterback in the NFL.
Yes, I agree. And if that continues to keep up, then I am on board. No Drake May, 100%.
Until you prove that you can at least be middle of the pack protection wise, I don't want Drake May back there at all, because realistically the expectations are not to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
To have a top 10-ish pick. And if you saw any of the game on Sunday, Jacoby was getting hit. I mean, there were a couple times where I was like, "Oh, he's done." I thought he was going to come off, and they were going to have to. But man,
he was grimacing a few times.
He was taking some hits. So until they can prove that they can at least semi protect the quarterback, I have no interest in throwing him back there.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I just wanted your opinion on that one.
Yeah. No, I think we're kind of on the same page here. I mean, I would love to see him. He's a third overall pick, a guy that we're putting a lot of trust and resources into, obviously with a third overall pick. But I would also like to keep him safe if he's going to be the guy of the future.
Yeah, if he's the future, you don't want to throw him to the wolves.
Right?
He's not ready. So I hear you. He's still young too. He's still 20, 21 years old. He's a young pup.
Exactly. No need to rush it. And honestly, all that being said, shout out Jacoby, because he has taken hits, and we're 1-1 through 2 weeks. That's better than I could have expected. I mean, I would have expected 0-2, and we had a chance to even go 2-0 there. I mean, we took them to OT. I would have liked them to go for it on the fourth down in overtime, but still 1-1.
Yeah, no, I agree there. Expectations are so low, man. You just gotta go for it.
You take it week by week here.
Yeah, but moving on.
Yeah, we'll go to a big upset, the biggest upset if you go by point spread. Raiders 26, Ravens 23. Raiders beat the Ravens on the road. This game was a sleeper in the first half. And I mentioned it in our AFC North preview, but I think this young offensive line for the Ravens is kind of showing their weaknesses against Christian Wilkins and Max Crosby, who had a day. The game was close at halftime, very low scoring. I don't think the Ravens scored a touchdown until the second half. And then Gardner Minshew decided to throw it to Devontae Adams and Brock Bowers. And all of a sudden, the Raiders pull out a win.
Yeah, no, massive win for the Raiders. But they were down. Like, it's just one of those things that's the biggest Achilles heel for the Ravens. They blow leads in the fourth quarter. They were up by 10 points here in the fourth quarter, and they blow it away. They're up 23 to 13 with 12 minutes in the fourth quarter. And they get 13 unanswered points put on them, and they lose 26-23. But yeah, like you said, I watched a lot of that game. The offensive line is not looking good. Not giving Lamar even a chance to escape the pocket. They are just right in his face right away, So they got some things to work out, and I don't think it gets any easier for them. They got
I
at
was just gonna
Cowboys,
say,
versus Bills, at Bengals the next 3 weeks. So
are you worried about the Ravens? Because they're 0-2 with a road game against the Cowboys this week,
yeah,
a home game against the Bills next week, and a road game against the Bengals in week 5.
yeah, yeah, no,
I
big
mean,
time.
we'll get to the Cowboys. Obviously, they got blown out by the Saints, but I mean, there's a real possibility that this team could be 0-5.
Yeah, no, that is that is on the table. That is absolutely on the
Which is,
table.
I mean, can't even believe I'm saying that, but it's true. I mean,
Yeah,
it's true. Bengals look a
yeah,
lot better this week, and by week 5, they'll probably look a lot better again. Getting T Higgins back, I mean, holy shit, man.
yeah. Like this was an absolutely must-win game. Like we knew the Ravens' schedule coming into the season was going to be tough. For those first 5 games, definitely tough. But this is this is the one you had to win.
Yeah, and they didn't.
They did not. Shout out Gardner Minshew though. Guy's a stud.
Yeah, he's a gamer. I mean, he's playing. Next game, probably the ugliest game of the early slate. Browns at Jaguars. The weather was gross. The screen was gross. I couldn't even stand watching it, but the Browns do pull out a win, 18-13. Uh, Not much for me to say. I think Watson looked a little bit better, but
Yeah.
I think the Jags stink again.
Yeah, I was a little higher on him this year, but after 2 weeks, I'm throwing that out the window. I didn't take any Jags futures, but it was one of those teams I was like, I think they were pretty good a couple years ago. Like, they should be better. I don't know. I think Doug Peterson's on the hot seat here. Um,
I would agree.
yeah, no, I am on team non Jaguars right now.
I mean, I had said the past couple weeks when he did our show that I wasn't very high on him, and I think this is a game that they could have won pretty easily. I know the Browns' defense is really good, but I mean, you can't be making excuses. Trevor was 14 for 30 for 220. Deshaun was 22 for 34 with 186. I mean, there really wasn't much going on in this game. It was just ugly. The screen
Yeah,
was ugly. Everything, every time they showed it on Red Zone, I was like, ugh. It was
yeah, I
gross. The
wasn't.
weather was gross. It was just gross. It was a gross game.
Yeah, I was not a fan of having as many 1 o'clock games as there were.
Well, this is the last time they'll do that. It should be a good split throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah, it was just, dude, it was just too much going on at 1 o'clock, and it was just like,
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, not much to say there. I think the Browns defense won this game.
Yeah, big time.
And I think the Jags suck kind of like I thought at the beginning of the year. So that's my takeaways. Let's move on to the Jets at the Titans. Jets get their first win of the year, 24-17. I don't know, kind of similar here. Will Levis is a very volatile quarterback. You saw the um, later in the game, the play where he was falling to the ground, tried to pass it, backwards
Yeah,
pass, covered by the Jets. And then you saw a deep ball to Calvin Ridley, which was unbelievable. So he
yeah,
has the skill. He's got to take care of the ball. And I think the Titans at least cover the spread in this game if he was at least more manageable. But the Jets pull out a win. Nonetheless, they look a little bit better. Braylon Allen, 2 tutties. Mike Williams gets a big catch late in the game. I think Rodgers is settling in a little bit, but I think again, Will Levis was the reason why this game went to the Jets. Personally,
yeah. I mean, just dumb mistakes. Like those are rookie mistakes. You can't be making those mistakes now, year two. But yeah, no, and even that deep ball to Calvin Ridley. I mean, it was a heck of a ball, but like there was double coverage, and it still fit into a small window. It's definitely not a high percentage completion
no,
right there, but he does have a cannon of an arm. If you can just kind of dial in those dumb mistakes, like back-to-back weeks, that pick six against the Bears, brutal. That play,
Yeah.
brutal. You just got to learn to kind of take his medicine a little bit and not make bad plays into super negative plays,
Yeah, that pass to
take
Calvin Ridley tied the game, and
yeah.
then he turns it over. So
Yeah.
I'm looking through a little bit of the scoring summary, and 2024 AFC South standings: Houston 2-0, Colts 0-2, Jacksonville 0-2, Tennessee 0-2.
Yeah, it might be they might just run away with it.
I would hope so.
2-game lead.
Next game
two games
Texans
in.
are good. It should be fine. Next game, another upset. We were both on the Niners in Minnesota. Vikings win 23-17.
Yeah, I didn't understand the line. I still don't understand the line. I still don't understand how the 49ers didn't win that game. It was just honestly overall weird game,
Well, I said it to you, the 5.5. We were going through the lines. I was making my picks. I was taking all the favorites. We got to this game, and I said, okay, now this is feeling like a trap. You said no. I'm not blaming it on you, but the 2 or 3 games before that I took the favorites, those lost too. One of them being the Cowboys -6.5, who lost by 35 or 25 or whatever it is. So it was a trap. Sam Darnold.
MVP Darnold.
I mean, look, you were giving me shit. Did I expect this to start? No. But I knew that he was going to be a solid QB. Again, I think the Niners kind of just are out of sorts a little bit here. No CMC, who now looks like he's going to be out for a while with high risk of torn Achilles. So I don't know. Justin Jefferson, electric 97-yard receiving touchdown in this game. The Vikings came to play, and the Vikings are 2-0. So
Crazy.
Props to them. Good win at home. They I think Purdy had over 300 yards passing. I mean, if you showed me that stat line without a box score and told me Purdy threw for 319 and Debo had 110 yards receiving and Mason rushed for 100 yards, I would have told you the Niners won by 14.
Yeah.
But the Vikings defense played really well in good spots, and they pulled out the win. So props to them.
Yeah, big time.
Next game, Chargers-Panthers. No surprise here. This was one of the favorites that we hit. 26-3 Chargers. The Panthers announced this week that they are benching Bryce Young. Quentin Johnston all of a sudden can catch the ball for the Chargers. J.K. Dobbins, another 130-plus yard rushing game. And Harbaugh has made his stamp on this Chargers team. The culture is changing. They are 2-0 to go into the season. Granted, they played the Raiders and the Panthers to start the 2 first games of the season, but I think this Chargers team is a team to look out for, man. I love Harbaugh. I trust him. He has already proven that he's a good NFL coach, and they've beaten 2 teams that they should have beaten. So,
no, they're taking care of business, and emphatically, to say the least.
Oh yeah,
they're doing it the classic way. They're on the ball, play action, defense is playing well. So, definitely a team to look out for. Watch out, Chiefs. Chargers coming for that division.
I don't know about that, but we did take the Chargers over 8.5 wins. They got 2 already, and they travel to Pittsburgh next week.
Yes, sir.
So, good start. I feel like we should touch a little bit on the Bryce Young benching.
Yeah.
Not that there's much to say, but I don't know, man. This is a terrible situation in Carolina.
awful situation, man. Awful. And like going back to that draft, Carolina giving up so much for that pick. I was like, you're giving up so much for that pick. You gotta take the guy with the highest ceiling. You don't draft a 5'9" quarterback, and like I wasn't doubting Bryce Young's ability. I think he still has the potential to be an all right quarterback in this league. I mean, it's just a similar situation. I'm kind of jumping all over the place, but similar situation here. We're talking about Drake May earlier. We don't want to throw him in right away and get him hurt on a shitty fucking team, and I feel like that's a situation with Bryce Young. He just doesn't have time to process his reads. He's getting worse. He's getting panicked. His confidence is completely shot. And now he's getting benched. Like this kid is I think honestly, it's time. I think he just needs to get a new place, a new team, new franchise to start over.
I'm staring at a headline that they put out today. Panthers not considering trading benched Young. And I would agree with you. I think they're lucky that he hasn't gotten hurt, personally.
Yeah.
I think, if you think about it, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield were both in Carolina before they kind of had a resurgence in their careers.
Yep.
And you could even say the same thing about the Jets, where Sam Darnold was too.
Yep.
I don't think you can be like even. I think if CJ Stroud went to Carolina, he would be in a similar situation. It might not be as bad, and he might like put up decent numbers, but they still wouldn't win more than 5-6 games.
No.
Like the culture means something, and
big time.
It especially means something to a quarterback. Like if you're going to lead a team, you need to lead a team that believes in where they are. And
Correct.
Regardless of height, ability, anything, like you saw with Baker. I mean, Baker brought the Browns to the playoffs for the first time in 20 years, and they shipped him out of town. Yeah. And now all of a sudden the Bucs are 2-0. So I think it has a lot to do with the organization. I can see Bryce Young in 2-3 years finding a spot where a team is in a pinch, and all of a sudden he comes on the field and he shows that he can still play. But I don't see any success for him in Carolina.
No, not at all. I think, unfortunately, I mean, it seems early to say it, but I think that ship has sailed. He's played in 18 games.
And you bench him. With nothing to work with.
Nothing to work with. Confidence completely shot. And I mean, if I'm Carolina, I'm trying to trade him before maybe even it's too late. Trade him and try to get as high of a pick as you can. Instead of waiting and all you can get for him, like the Patriots. What did we get for Mac Jones? A fifth?
If that, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, maybe trade him now, get a second, move on. Any dollar start for your team, and suck and get Quinn Ewers or Carson Beck in the first round this year and sit them for a season.
Yeah.
Improve your offensive line, build the team around the quarterback. Build the team and then get the quarterback. I don't know, So
yeah. No, I don't disagree.
Yeah, it's a tough situation, I feel, for the kid. Especially with the success of CJ Stroud, the pick right behind him. And I know Anthony Richardson hasn't had the most success right now, but I mean,
he's still a work in progress, though. He's a raw talent.
Yeah, the potential is off the charts. If I had the first overall pick, I would have taken Anthony Richardson in that draft, but that's beside the point.
All right, so tough situation there. Next game, Saints-Cowboys. Saints, best offense in the league through 2 weeks, 44-19 win. This Saints team might be legit. I mean, holy hell. Kamara, 4 touchdowns.
Here's my thing with them right now. It's like, do they look legit? 100%. They put up whatever amount of points against Carolina. Carolina's dog shit. They go and they put as many points as they did on the Cowboys. I don't know. The Cowboys could be dog shit. That's a stereotypical Cowboys home loss. I should have seen it coming. I was just thinking the Saints weren't that good, and I'm still not a believer. Like Derek Carr is as mid gets, and yeah, he's had a good start to the year. You know what I'm saying? Like I just don't see it. I just don't see them being a 11, 12 win team.
I mean, I didn't see it, but to be honest with you, I think it goes a little bit both ways. I think the Saints offensive line has played we all know the Saints defense has been good for a while and they still are good. But I think the bright spot, as much as the highlights get shown of Derek Carr and Rashid Shaheed and Alvin Kamara scoring 4 tutties, I think the Saints offensive line has played, they were projected like bottom 10 in the league. They've played exceptional through the first 2 weeks and they shut down Mike Parsons all day long. And then on the other side, I think for the Cowboys offense, they don't have a true number 2 wide receiver. And they don't really have a running back that can be a workhorse. So I think they're missing pieces at key spots on offense. And I think the Saints are playing out of their minds currently.
Yeah.
So I think it goes a little bit both ways. I think the Saints have a great chance to win this division. And
definitely.
Do I think they're going to win the Super Bowl? No, but I think they are, despite the cap hell they've been in for the past fucking who knows how long, I think this team is playing over their heads. They're an older team, but they're playing really well. Shaheed is coming on like crazy. He's a younger guy that they can rely on, and Derek Carr looks confident and he's comfortable because he's being protected well. But the Cowboys need a number 2. I mean, Brandon Cooks is like 34, 33 years old.
Big time.
And they're almost relying more on Jalen Tolbert than they are him. And as good as CeeDee Lamb is, you can't just have one weapon on offense, and you're relying on Rico Dowdle to be your workhorse running back again behind a great offensive line. I just don't think it works like that.
No,
so
there's
I think it goes both ways for sure.
Yeah. I mean, but here we go. Saints got Eagles at home this week, at Falcons, at Chiefs. So by week 5, we will know if they're legit or not. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. I mean, they're the highest scoring offense in the NFL right now. I mean,
yeah. If they win 2 out of 3 of those games, I'll admit that they could potentially be a contender.
Yeah, and like I said, I think it goes both ways. I think the Saints are solid, and I think the Cowboys have a potential to be a fraudulent Super Bowl contender. I didn't see much, and they beat a good Browns defense on special teams play, really, on week 1.
Yeah.
Dak did not have a very good day. He threw for like 150, and they scored a special teams touchdown. So we're going to find out a lot about both of those teams the next few weeks. But nonetheless, a big win for the Saints. Moving on, we got the stinker of the week, Giants at Commanders. Commanders pull out the win on straight field goals. Another one, just like the Steelers in week 1, the Commanders hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 field goals to win 21-18. Yeah. If you had eyes on this game, I feel sorry for you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I wasn't on my main screen there, but obviously we got bits and pieces of it through Red Zone, and yeah, it was just weird. Like it was a competitive game, obviously 21-18, but it's just wild that the Commanders only scored. They only got 7 field goals to get into the opposing team's side of the field 7 times and not score a touchdown 1 time. That's insane.
I mean, we saw it. We saw it a couple times in week 1, though. So it's become a theme a bit here. Jaden Daniels ran a bit less than he did in week 1, which I think is a good thing. He did take a big rib shot in the third quarter, but
Yeah.
took one play off and he was right back in. So good sign there that he's not seriously injured. But he's fun to watch. I think Daniel Jones didn't play terrible in this game against a defense that is not very good, obviously. But still, I don't think Daniel Jones was the worst quarterback to watch. Malik Neighbors had a very high target share. He had like 18 targets,
Yeah.
which is
It's
good for
ridiculous.
the rookie. But the Giants still suck. So I don't know. I'm just trying to take a few positives from this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Jaden Daniels looked pretty good too. Taking care of the
No, he did.
ball, no
Yeah.
picks, no turnovers. I think he's taking care of the ball, making somewhat smart decisions. He's athletic as all hell. So
Yeah,
definitely,
he's definitely fun to watch.
definitely looks better than Caleb Williams too. But we can get into
Yeah,
that
so
later.
far. Next game, Bucks at Lions. Bucks pull out the win, 20-16. This was a very, very competitive game. Baker, man, Baker looks motivated. Chris
Mm.
Godwin has been arguably the best receiver through 2 weeks in the NFL.
Yep.
And their defense held up against a good Lions offense. Jared Goff did not look good today. I mean, on Sunday, excuse me.
No, I
He
didn't.
threw for over 307, but he had 2 picks, no touchdowns, 34 for 55. You cannot have Jared Goff throwing the ball 55 times when you have the best. We talked about it last week against the Rams. You have arguably the best offensive line in football, and Jared Goff is throwing the ball 55 times.
Yeah, and
That's not a
debatably,
recipe for success.
the best running back duo in the NFL with Gibbs and
Yep,
Montgomery.
Gibbs and Montgomery.
It's got to be change of pace style for them. They can't be throwing the ball 55 times.
At the very least, balance. But that's your identity. You have the best. I personally think they have the best offensive line in football. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess you could argue it a couple teams, but they need to run the football. Jared Goff threw 55 passes.
Yeah, it's insane.
That's not a winning formula against any team.
Yeah, that is not a great game script there for
That was like
um,
Brady's last year with the Bucks,
yeah.
where all they did was throw the ball. You don't win games like that. You have a fantastic offensive line and two great running backs. You need to run the football.
Yeah.
And they have not been.
And then that's when you can attack with Jared Goff and those, and they have a great receiving core too. Amon Ra, Jameson Williams, Sam Laporta. Like, you have weapons. You can't be one phased. You got to be able to run the ball, keep them on their toes. Then that's when you throw the ball. I don't know. I was pretty disappointed with the Lions' offense in this game for sure.
Jahmyr Gibbs had 13 carries for 84 yards. David Montgomery had 11 carries for 35 yards. Baker Mayfield had 5 carries for 34 yards. So I think they're getting away from their identity a little bit. I'm not worried about the Lions. I think they're still a great team.
Yeah.
But they need to run the football early and not rely so much on the pass game.
Yeah. Like, their defense at home held the Bucks to 20 points. Like, that's got to be a win. With that offense, you got to score more than 20 points. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and not to mention, Aiden Hutchinson had 5 sacks.
Yeah, that was wild.
5 sacks.
That's insane.
That's a half a sack away from the all-time record.
Yeah.
In a game, and they lose the game by 4. So they need to figure it out. But credit to the Bucks. I mean, good win. Baker is playing inspired. He's playing like a dog. And like I said earlier, him and Derek Carr look like the 2 best quarterbacks in the NFL right now.
Correct.
Mahomes too, but you know what I mean.
I got you.
Next game, Colts at Packers. Packers win 16-10. Packers dominated this game. Josh Jacobs ran for like 150 yards. No Jordan Love, obviously. Malik Willis did what he had to do. Colts scored late to make it close, and then drove down the field to try to make it close, to try to tie the game or win. But the Packers dominated this game, in my opinion.
Yeah, start to finish, they definitely dominated there.
Yeah,
I think that's
it
just the
was
case.
16-3 until minute 47 to go when the Colts scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
So Jacobs had 32 carries for 151 yards, and Malik Willis was 12 for 14 with 122 yards and a touchdown and some good runs as well. So he came in, did what he had to do, and honestly, Monday night after the Eagles and Falcons ended, which we'll get to, I placed the future on the Packers to win the NFC and to win the Super Bowl.
Wow.
Because that's a win that they shouldn't get without Jordan Love, and they did.
But yeah, no, I completely agree. Like it's one of those lines, like, and the Packers at home with Jordan Love are 4.5 point favorites against the Colts. I think 5 maybe.
Yep.
But the fact that they came in as underdogs and dominated this game just shows the pure talent on the Packers outside of the quarterback position. So you mix Jordan Love back into this team, like this is a very, very good football team.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, I mean obviously Packers win the Super Bowl is kind of a long shot, but try to get them at the value before the end of the season when they're 12-13 win team. So I like it.
Yeah, and I think winning the NFC bet is the best value you can get because there's uncertainty with the Eagles, which we'll get to. They lose on Monday night to the Falcons in dramatic fashion. And now there's uncertainty with the Niners because they lose to Minnesota. And I'm not sure Christian McCaffrey is going to play this year, personally. The way that they're talking about it and the way that they're saying the high risk for a torn Achilles, I don't know if you'll see him this year, period.
Yeah, which is wild.
It is wild, but
no one knew about it until like the day a day before.
They knew that it was bothering him, but they figured some rest and it would be okay. But what's his name? Damien Woody on ESPN. Yeah. He had the same thing, the tendonitis. He came back after resting for a few weeks, played a game, and tore his Achilles.
Yeah.
So it's happened before, and I think that they know that. So I got the Packers at 11-1 to win the conference and 22-1 to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
On Monday night.
Okay. I'm with that. I like that. I like that a lot.
And Jordan Love's injury doesn't look serious. They ran the shit out of the ball. Josh Jacobs' 32 rushes is crazy.
Yeah. Especially nowadays, man.
Yeah. But anyways, that's a good win. And I just saw the value there. But another NFC matchup was Rams at Cardinals. Cooper Kupp goes out in the first half with an ankle injury, but the Cardinals dominated this game from start to finish. Marvin Harrison had 4 catches for over 130 yards and 2 touchdowns. Cardinals win this game 41-10. Kyler Murray was perfect. And he looks like he's back to the old Kyler that we saw in his first couple of years and at Oklahoma. I mean, he played outstanding in this game. The Rams never stood a chance.
Never stood a damn chance. Right from the jump, that first touchdown the Cardinals scored, I was like, "Yep, that's game."
Yep.
But yeah, and Marvin Harrison Jr. put up all those stats in just the first quarter. By the way, 4 132 tutties all in the first quarter. Pretty impressive. Kind of figured his jump starting to lead would come. But what a way to do it all in the first quarter there. That was pretty cool to watch. Great catch, too.
Yeah.
That the first touchdown. Both touchdowns were cool, too. The second one, too, staying off the ground and extending over the goal line, and that was pretty sweet. But yeah, Kyler looks as advertised for the number 1 pick. A few years ago, obviously, people were sleeping on him. I thought this dude was playing too much Call of Duty, but seems like he's back into form. And yeah, the Cardinals are not a team to be messing with, I don't think.
No, not at all. And I will give all credit to the Cardinals for playing a great game, but I will give the Rams a little bit of slack here because obviously Puka went out last week.
Yeah.
They're missing their. I'm pretty sure they're missing their two starting tackles and maybe a starting guard too. So they're really, really down on injuries. So that doesn't help. But the Cardinals, James Conner is running angry. This team is really nothing to be messed with. I think we talked about it too because we did do this preview.
Yep.
Kyler is back and he's playing his best football through 2 weeks, in my opinion. And I mean, if the Niners stay the way they are and Chris McCaffrey doesn't come back, I think they could challenge this division personally.
Yeah, for sure. That offense is explosive, man.
Mm-hmm.
Offense is explosive, and you got James Conner.
They can score. They can score with any team. James Conner. Dude, James Conner might be the most slept on running back in the NFL.
100%.
He scored a touchdown and he fumbled on the goal line. He should have had two.
Yeah. 21, 122. Tutty, fumble on the goal line. Yeah. Dude, that guy, I love watching James Conner play. That dude runs angry.
He does.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, man. This Cardinals team is going to be a sleeper. Next game, Steelers at Broncos, 13-6. Very boring. Yeah.
Snooze
TJ
fest.
TJ Watt and the Steelers defense get after Bo Nix. He went 20 for 35 for 246 and 2 touchdowns. Justin Fields goes 13 for 20 for 117 and a touchdown.
2 picks, you mean?
This
for Nix, you said
yes,
2 touchdowns.
Two interceptions, my fault. Yeah. This game sucked. The Steelers defense is arguably the best in the league, and they wreaked havoc. The Broncos are probably, they might even be worse to watch than the Panthers.
Yeah, they're up there.
I cannot stand watching this Broncos team. I don't know what Sean Payton is doing. He thinks he's still playing with Drew Brees. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
They suck. They can't run the ball. They can't throw the ball.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they can't. It's unfortunate to watch, honestly. The Broncos suck. It's just so boring. Such a boring brand of football.
It's terrible.
Yeah. But I kind of hate this because the Steelers. I have
2 wins. We bet them under 7.5.
Yeah, but they still got.
We bet them under 7.5 with Russell Wilson as the starting QB, though.
I mean, they're 2-0 with one offensive touchdown to two games. So I'm not worried about the bet. I mean, I am in a way just because like this is the one thing that could lose us the bet is that just constant close games, they're going to find a way to win some of those. And defense is going to keep them in there. If the offense can score more than one touchdown every 2 games, it's going to be tough for them to lose under 7.5 games. But let's not forget that they have an unbelievably tough schedule down the stretch.
Oh, I'm not worried.
I'm not worried about it. They're going to end up struggling at some point. So we'll see. Fuck the Steelers.
They've played a Falcons team that is still finding their legs and maybe the worst offense in the league, second worst offense in the league in the Broncos. So
yeah,
easy schedule to start.
Yep, definitely easy.
All right, last afternoon game, Chiefs host the Bengals, and the Chiefs squeeze out the win once again.
Yeah.
There was obviously a big pass interference call, which I'm not going to call controversial because it was clearly a pass interference. Everyone's
Yep.
going to say the Chiefs get all the calls, but that was a good call. Chiefs squeak out a win. Bengals looked a lot better than they did in week one. They played really well. They always play really well against the Chiefs. Yeah, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. I think it was a good call in the pass interference.
Yeah. I mean, I agree too. Like I saw all the tweets and everything. Like, oh yeah, the Bengals lost to the refs, and yeah, it's like, hold up. Did you watch the replay of it? He
Yeah,
clearly hit him, basically tackled him before the ball was even there. It's clear pass interference. Unfortunately, I mean, I was rooting for the Bengals in that one. Can't stand the Chiefs, so it's a tough loss. But the Bengals they look a lot better. They always, like you said, they do always play the Chiefs pretty tough. Um, should have expected that. Should have put a little wage on them, but hindsight's 2020, right?
yeah, and I mean, we dealt with it for 20 years with the Pats. Everybody thinks that the calls are going toward the better team, a team that wins all the time.
Yep.
But realistically, I mean, half the time it's the better teams, the dynasty teams that win every game and make runs in the playoffs, make little plays to get calls too. That wasn't specifically an example of that, but still,
Yeah.
I mean,
100%.
everyone's going to say, "Oh, Mahomes got another call," but that was a clear pass interference, no question in my mind.
Yep.
And the Chiefs
100%.
squeak out another win. They played good enough to win the game.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that there's bad calls that are going to be made. That in this instance, that wasn't a bad call,
Not
but
at all.
we're talking about the back to back Super Bowl champions. They're a good team, and they had a chance to win that game many a times. You know, like they know how to win those games, and that was a good call, and they ended up winning the game. So enough of that. Enough of that talk, man. I hate that shit.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it was a fourth and mid, and I'm pretty sure the Chiefs got a penalty the play before to make it a fourth and like 16 to
Yeah,
even get that play to happen. So
yeah,
that's just the internet. That's how it rolls.
yeah,
Next game, Sunday night, Bears at Texans. Texans win 19-13, kind of a snooze fest, I'm going to be honest. I felt
yeah.
stupid halftime,
I didn't watch.
but I
I
did
fell asleep
watch the
before the
rest.
game. I didn't watch a single second of it.
Well, there was only two field goals in the second half, both coming in the fourth quarter. Um, Caleb Williams has no protection. Keenan Allen was out this game. I'm not bailing on him. They covered the number,
Mm-hmm.
depending on where you got it at. I gave it out. I gave Texans -6 on the show. The line closed at 5.5. By the time I put the bet in on Friday or Saturday, it was 6.5. So depending on when you put your bet in, you either won, pushed, or lost, which is crazy. It was a tough loss if you had 6.5, which I did have in one of my bets. But the Texans win a good game. The Bears defense is good. They have no protection for Caleb Williams, so I'm not giving up on him. I don't think he played terrible. I think he played a good first half. Second half was tough. When I watched it back, he kind of folded. But yeah, I still think the Bears are a decent team. I mean, they're not bottom of the bottom as they've been in the past. I think protection is going to be a big problem throughout the year, but Texans are solid, man.
Yeah, no, they're a good team. I wouldn't say they played their best ball, but I mean that's that's a game that they're expected to win. They're going to go in. They're going to take care of business one way or another, and they got it
Oh
done.
yeah,
Um,
and Joe Mixon got injured in the second quarter.
yeah, I know everyone's dropping like flies, man. But
Yeah, it's
yeah,
tough.
like I
Long
said,
injury list.
I didn't watch a second of this game. I watched a few highlights here and there, but yeah, I don't really have much else there in this game.
I personally think Caleb Williams played pretty good in the first half. He was being a quarterback. He was managing the game well, and they stayed in the game. And then his second half was just bad. But I don't think he has very good protection. I think the offensive line is a big problem for the Bears.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same old story it's been for the last 5 years.
Yeah. All right, last game, Monday night. Falcons at Eagles. The Eagles might be in trouble, man. This
Think
game
so?
was, yeah, I do. This game was 7-6 at halftime for the Eagles. They outscored the Falcons in the fourth quarter, but they couldn't hold on to win. Big drop by Saquon Barkley on third down. Inside the 10-yard line, they might even been on the 5. Catches that ball, gets the first down, wins it. There was also controversy of, not a controversy, but they drew up a play to draw the Falcons offside. Judon jumped a little bit, and Jordan Mailata didn't move. If all he had to do was stick his arm out or flinch a little bit, they would have got an automatic first down, and the game would have been over. But regardless, I think you're 3rd and 2 or 3 with the Eagles' offensive line and Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. You run the ball twice, take off at least 40 seconds. If you turn it over on the 3-yard line, they have 45, 50, 60 seconds less than they would have. But credit to the Falcons. Kirko came down, drove down the field, scored a touchdown, won the game. I think it was an all-time fumbling by the Eagles, personally.
Oh, an absolute fumble by the Eagles. I mean, you have debatably, I know we used to be saying the Lions might have the best offensive line in football, but the Eagles for years and still do have a top 3 offensive line in football. You signed Saquon Barkley. You got Jalen Hurts at quarterback, who's I mean, Lamar Jackson's the best rushing quarterback, but just given like ground and pound type of style for a quarterback, like Jalen Hurts can break tackles left and right. Why are we being too cute in that scenario, man? Like Sirianni,
why are you throwing that ball?
Why are you throwing that ball? Like, I guess it was like a good play call, but I mean, take that variable out of play. The variable of someone dropping a pass, take that out of play.
Also,
and just run the football.
You know who's dropped the most passes in the past 2 years at running back?
Saquon Barkley.
Saquon Barkley.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that, but yeah, dude, like absolutely fumbled it away, and that's the thing though too is like if you end up going for it on third, you run it. The Falcons ended up they still had one timeout, right? That after that, or they out? Do you remember? I can't remember the specific scenario.
I'm gonna look at it right now.
But I think they had none actually. They had none. But anyway, if you run that ball, time.
No, they had no timeouts left. They called their third timeout with 1:46 to go.
Yep.
Then Philly lined up to try to draw them off sides, which they did, but nobody on the offensive line reacted. So they didn't get the call. So then Philly used the timeout. Then Hurts threw to Barkley with 1:46 on the clock, incomplete, still 1:46. Then Jake Elliott kicked the field goal, taking 5 seconds off the clock. So the Falcons had 1 minute and 39 seconds to drive down the field after the field goal. You run the ball on 3rd and 3. You take 40 seconds off the clock, so you're at 106. Even if you don't get the first down, you run it again.
100%. Like 100%, because teams down 3 in that scenario, they're not with under a minute left. They're taking touchdown out of the equation.
Mm-hmm.
They all they're trying to do is get the field goal range and kick the field goal. And if they get that, it sucks. But you have another chance in overtime to win the game. And
You
if you get
still go
that
to
first,
overtime, correct?
and if you get that first down on 4th and 1 or whatever it might have been, if they ran it
You
on
have
3rd and 3,
2 tries a with 2 guys who can squat over 500 pounds easily,
yeah,
and a top 5 offensive line to get
yeah,
3 yards.
yeah, oh yeah,
The
it's being
old the old
way too
Eagles would
cute.
have
That
run that
game's
ball.
over. That game is
Yep.
over on a first down. Game is
Mm-hmm.
over. But
The game
I
was
just want,
over at 3rd and 3,
yeah, no, 100.
and you
percent
decide to throw the ball.
I do want to say thank you though, because that led to me hitting Kirk Cousins 2+ touchdowns. Jalen Hurts then had to try to get them to the field goal range.
Oh yeah, it was
He
in
threw a
my
pick.
favor too.
I had that. I had Falcons +5.5. That was awesome. So I was staring at 0-4 in the face, and then I ended up going 3-1. So
Yeah,
I am very pleased with the outcome. But if Nick Sirianni had half a goddamn brain, I would have gone 0-4, or I probably gone 1-3 because it would have been 18 to whatever.
Yeah, I had
21
Falcons
18.
in the under, so I would have liked them to win the game there, to be honest, but
Yeah. Yeah,
worked out anyways.
it did get sketchy there for you at the end.
Oh, it's scary.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was NFL Week 2.